Who are these people?
Alrighty. We are here. It's Monday afternoon, 2:11 in the afternoon, 2:11 p.m., afternoon, p.m., whatever. And I'm here making a rare video, a standalone video on my channel. Now, I would have talked about this on my long stream on Friday, but this video literally came out after, like 30 minutes after I was done streaming, and I was like, shit. And I really don't want to I don't want to wait till Friday to talk about this, so why not do it now in a standalone video on my channel. By the way, so if you're watching this video, please like, please subscribe, please share, tell me what you think, all that good stuff. So, this is a alleged debate between Kyle Kulinski and his little butt buddies, the Vanguard, also aka the Jay and Silent Bob Show. Even though Jay and Silent Bob are actually funny, these motherfuckers aren't funny. So let's share this. There you go. The video is actually called Joe Biden versus Cornel West, Debate with the Vanguard, or Kyle Kulinski's two bobbleheads. So this video, by the way, they call it a debate, but they really don't. They agree with each other on everything. Almost everything. There's some minor disagreements, like really minor, but, they claim, this is a debate. So this is a debate. I'm open-minded. So let's check this out. Let me actually play it. Maybe that'll work, Angel.
Voting for Marianne in the Democratic primary, which obviously I fully agree with. And then you were saying in the general, definitely voting for Cornel West. So The point that I've made on my show, and kind of the point that I've made over the years, even in 2016 and even in 2020, even though some people interpret what I've said differently, my point has always been, if you live in a safe state, I think you should vote for, the Green Party candidate or whichever candidate 100% aligns more with your values. But I actually think it's a much more difficult moral conundrum in a swing state. I actually don't think it's a very easy question. Like, I'm definitely...
What? Of course it's easy. Just vote who the fuck you want to vote for. Just vote for them. You want to vote for Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden. You want to vote for Donald Trump, vote for Donald Trump. If you want to vote for Cornel West, vote for Cornel West. I mean, why is this like this? What Kyle wants to do is a virtue signal. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, if you're in a swing state, you must vote for Joe Biden, or else you're a terrible person. Oh, and you're in a red state or a blue state. Oh, vote your conscience. Go ahead and I'm allowing you to virtue signal and vote your conscience.
Definitely going to vote for Cornel West because at the end of the day, look, it's just the ironclad reality that if we don't get rid of first past the post voting, and if we don't implement ranked choice voting, all the third party talk, whether it's a libertarian, green, an independent, or anybody, it all comes to it's literally for nothing. It's all just like a fake virtue signal show. And I actually think that's sort of like delegitimate.
Wait, you're the one virtue signaling. I mentioned this point, but I figured let's do it again. You're the one virtue signaling. You're like, oh, if you're in a safe blue state, then I'll vote for Cornel West. Oh, I'm in Virginia where I'm moving into my wife's multi-million-dollar mansion, then yeah, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden because it's more of a swing state. Just pathetic. Absolutely pathetic by Kyle.
Legitimize.
Wait, he has no balls. Crystal Ball has his balls, in her hands, and he does whatever he tells her to. So if she tells him, honey, you better vote for Joe Biden, I'm voting for Joe Biden. Please don't squeeze my balls. Okay, I got it. I'm voting for Joe Biden, and I'm going to go on our show, and I'm going to tell the audience exactly what you want me to tell them to, which is to vote for Joe Biden if they're in a swing state. Yeah, do you love me now, honey? Please. Pathetic.
The idea of a third party and a candidate who's not a Democrat or a Republican a lot more, that we all buy into this charade that there might be something serious going on here. Now, this, by the way, is coming from somebody. I voted for Jill Stein in 2012. In 2016, I, of course, voted for Bernie in the primary.
It doesn't matter. You're in New York. So, of course, you voted. Like, you in your mind, you get to virtue signal and vote for whoever your conscience tells you to vote. If you had balls, you would vote for Jill Stein or the Greens no matter what state you live in. But you don't have balls because you're not a man.
And then in the general, I voted for, I think Jill Stein ran again. I think I voted for her again. So I voted for Jill Stein twice. So this is coming from somebody who is literally a Green Party voter. I've probably voted for more Green Party people than Democrats, or it's like roughly.
Yep. What, the Vanguard, there they go. Being bobbleheads for Kyle Kulinski. You know, their favorite YouTuber. In very pathetic and embarrassing fashion. I got more to say about those two.
Even. But having said that, like, so let me give you my whole spiel on Biden, because I'm from New York. I'm still technically registered to vote in New York, but I might be going to Virginia, which is a little bit more of a swing state. It's not as safe as New York. So then all of a sudden this conundrum pops up again. So when it comes to Biden, I got to be honest with you guys. I expected Dickie McGee's acts from him. I expected literally nothing, because we're...
Wait. Hasn't anybody bothered to tell this guy to stop using Dickie McGee's acts like he's some kind of like a 21-year-old moron that is commentating on politics? That's how he comes across when he uses the word Dickie McGee's acts. He's like, dude, you're wearing a blazer and you know you're acting like an MSNBC host every other time, but as soon as all of a sudden, then he comes out with Dickie McGee's acts. Doesn't Crystal tell him stop using that? That's not funny. I mean, it's like with me when I first started doing commentary. I came up with a stupid nickname, the Handsome Cynic. I hate the nickname now, honestly. It's like, really? What the fuck was I thinking? Was I drunk? There's like, Handsome Cynic. Perfect. It was just a pathetic name. It was like, yeah, I'm not using that again. I mean, you want to call people call me that, whatever, but I'm not actively calling myself that anymore. It's like I grew and I learned. It's like, that's terrible. Like, what the hell was I thinking? But Kyle, in 10 years, haven't grown. He still uses Dickie McGee's acts and based, excuse me, like he's some kind of teenager or something, when he's a 33-year-old grown man.
We're talking about a guy who voted for the Iraq War. We're talking about a guy who voted for the crime bill and wrote part of the crime bill. We're talking about a guy who supported NAFTA and the Patriot Act, and like his record as the Senate
and the TPP. Let's not forget about that. Joe Biden supported the TPP. Oops.
Is a deeply, deeply conservative Democrat and a corrupt Democrat, so I expected nothing at all. But then when he got into office, like, I was genuinely pleasantly surprised to see...
Oh, here we go. This is where Kyle Kulinski starts talking about how he regretted not voting for Joe Biden in 2020, and he sucks his old balls. This is embarrassing. This entire next minute and a half here, whatever long it is, it's embarrassing. So let's watch. Let's watch Kyle embarrass himself here.
He did some student loan debt reduction. He did the...
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't do any student loan reduction. In fact, the way he used it was terrible, because he used the HEROES Act when he was told by his lawyers to use the Higher Education Act in 1965. He was told by the White House lawyers to do that, but instead his justification was the HEROES Act, which of course got slapped down by the Supreme Court. And now he's talking about, now he's going to use the Higher Education Act, which will take months to get through court and stuff. So meanwhile, if you have student loans, I'm sorry, but you're fucked. Let's keep going. See what else Kyle's had to say. Kyle's. I meant Kyle.
$1,400 stimulus checks.
He should have been $2,000.
It was going to be $2,000.
But it wasn't. It was $1,400.
That was a lie, but we got $1,400, which was half decent. In the Inflation Reduction Act, they overruled the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court said the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is not allowed to do environmental protection. And so Biden and the Democrats slipped it into the IRA that we're redefining carbon emissions as a pollutant. So now the EPA can regulate it again. Basically,
oh, wow.
Saving the entire fight against climate change by that one simple procedural trick, which was super based.
Oh, yeah, of course. It was super based. What are you, a 20-year-old? What are you, a teenager? All right, first off, let's be honest here. Yeah, it was super based. Okay, let's examine that. Not only did Joe Biden approved the Willow Project, which was the largest expansion of oil drilling on natural land or on U.S. government land that we ever seen, but he also bombed the pipeline. Why am I forgetting the name of the pipeline? It's not Keystone. Fuck, why am I forgetting the name? One eternity later. I don't remember the name of the pipeline right now. The Russian pipeline, which put a bunch of carbon in the atmosphere for no reason. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yeah, he saved the EPA. Yeah, meanwhile, he approves the Willow Project and bombs Russia's pipeline to the point where there's even more carbon in the atmosphere than ever was before. But yeah, but he saved the EPA. That's all that matters, right? Just pathetic.
The most base things I've ever seen.
Yeah, based. Like he's some kind of teenager or something.
Democrat in the modern era do. He raised the minimum wage for federal employees and federal contractors through executive order, which is about 400,000 workers to $15 an hour. I definitely didn't expect him to do that. I didn't expect him to do project labor agreements, which, 200,000 union workers.
Oh, wow.
Get higher wages as a result of that.
Yeah, what about the rest of us, Kyle? You don't give a shit about the rest of us, right? As long as federal workers get their $15 an hour, which is small and good, but what about the rest of Americans? So they get $15 an hour? Nope. We don't give it. The rest of you go fuck yourselves because I'm trying to defend Joe Biden. Oops. Wait. Okay.
I didn't expect him to onshore 200,000 jobs when Trump had offshored hundreds of thousands of jobs. I didn't expect him to do even the mild gun reform that he did, where we have like some funding for red flag laws and we got rid of the boyfriend loophole. So if you have
funding for red flag laws. What, am I supposed to be impressed by that? Am I supposed to be impressed by, oh yeah, by the way, here's some money, states, in order for you to do red flag laws, which only the blue states will do because the red states will never do it. But, oh wow, that's really impressive. Red flag laws. Let's keep going.
Like a domestic abuser boyfriend, that you can legally take their guns now if they're a threat. I didn't expect, Ketanji Brown Jackson, I think, is a great Supreme Court justice. She was put on the court.
Yeah, that's nice. One Supreme Court justice. When a conservative retired, he appointed somebody. Oh, wow. That's so great, man. Like, hallelujah, dude.
We have the NLRB is genuinely pro-labor. We wouldn't have seen this increase in Amazon unionization and Starbucks unionization if it wasn't for that. He pulled out of Afghanistan, which I thought was super based, and then he actually told the media to suck his nuts as he did it when they were flipping out over it.
No, he didn't.
He took a hit in the polls as a result of it.
No, he didn't. Hold on. No, he didn't. He didn't withdraw from Afghanistan. Donald Trump negotiated that withdrawal with the Taliban. It's like the third time now I've corrected this. Donald Trump was the one that negotiated the withdrawal. Joe Biden happened to be president when this happened, and he fucking stumbled his way out of Afghanistan. Like, remember the Afghanis hanging off from the U.S. plane when we withdrew? Remember that? That was a disastrous withdrawal to the point where Biden approval numbers haven't gone over 50% since. So yeah, that was a disastrous withdrawal. I mean, yeah, he hasn't been over 50% since. He's been stuck at 40 like Donald Trump was most of his presidency. So no, he doesn't get credit for that either, Kyle.
On that, and he went down in the polls, but he pulled out and said, no, I'm not going to go back in.
Yes, and he never recovered. He's still at 40%. He's like 41, 42, 43%. What are you talking about?
Now, we can talk about all the, the negative things, like he's fucking starving Afghanistan right now via sanctions, and, he did a drone strike that killed innocents on the way out of Afghanistan. And so I could do the whole spiel. Like, here's the 20 areas where he's wrong. Ripped up the Iran agreement, is not getting back into it. It didn't lift a finger for the public option or the PRO Act. Gave up on $15 minimum wage for the whole country. Bombed Syria. Sent troops to Somalia. I could give you the pros and the cons, but my point here is $15 corporate minimum wage, billions of dollars for Made in America green jobs, which was part of the IRA, the PACT Act, which gave health care to...
I could talk about all the bad things that the president did, with not supporting the PRO Act and not doing this and not doing that and blah, 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 blah. But let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the good so you can vote for I'll convince my audience to vote for the president. You see how pathetic this is? You think how embarrassing this is? And oh, by the way, he doesn't mention the fact that Joe Biden also broke the railroad strike. And it's possible that Joe Biden will also break the UPS strike. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. I mean, this is talk about all the positives of the president.
Toxic burn pit victims who are veterans. massively reducing the drone war. And he did all this stuff without a fucking supermajority. Obama had a supermajority, and he did like 40% of what Biden was able to do. So I look at that and I go,
Joe Biden did everything, guys. He didn't even have a supermajority. Look at all the stuff he accomplished. Except he's accomplished very little, and, you know, I'm trying to suck up to Joe Biden so my audience will vote for him, and I'm trying to make my wife happy. Because I'm not a man, I'm a mouse. Pathetic. Just pathetic.
My purity test in 2020 was like, if I was convinced Joe Biden would just do a couple of the things that I support, just like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 at most, just like...
Hey, doesn't matter, guys. As long as Joe Biden does 1 or 2 or 3 of the things I support, I should have voted for him. I should have voted for him in New York, by the way, which is a solidly blue state. I should have voted for him, guys. If he would have done 1, 2, maybe 3 things I support, it's not an emergency to me. I don't give a shit if we have Medicare for all. I don't give a shit if we have higher minimum wage. I don't give a shit if the government doesn't care about unions, because it's not an emergency to me. I'm a rich white dude, and I just married an even richer white woman who's hot. You know, I just married her. So I couldn't give 2 fucks about whether any of the policies that I say that I want actually pass or not. Again, pathetic. This is a pathetic performance.
If I thought for sure he's going to get me victories on some... vote for him. And my point back then was, I don't think he's going to fucking do it. Based on his whole career as a senator, I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's super goddamn conservative.
Which he still is, by the way. He's super goddamn conservative, as Kyle says. So what are you talking about? Fucking embarrassing.
And now I look at it and I go, number one, I actually probably should have voted for him. I didn't. I actually didn't vote in 2020, but I kind of should have voted for him, number one. Number two, if...
you see, this is the part where he admits he regrets voting for Joe Biden. I probably should have voted for him. Guys. I'm so sorry I didn't vote for Joe Biden, your favorite president. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. This is Crystal Ball's audience. Please forgive me. I should have voted for him.
If it comes down to Trump versus Biden or DeSantis versus Biden, and I'm in Virginia, I think I would go cast a vote for Biden, because for all the issues he has far surpassed my expectations. But now it complicates it even more because Cornel West is running, and I fucking love Cornel West, and he's way more in alignment with my politics.
Yeah, so, sure, your politics. Meanwhile, you're talking about how you're going to vote for Joe Biden once you move to Virginia. Just pathetic. You don't care about Cornel West and his politics. You just care about, well, what's more convenient? I don't want Trump to be president. Trump is very dangerous. You know, he's a special evil, which he gets to later here. He's a unique evil. I don't want to vote for, fucking Cornel West when Virginia can go to Donald Trump. Please, guys, I'm a liberal like you are. I'm a boutique leftist. Please. Pathetic. Absolutely. It's just, I can't believe that I like this motherfucker.
So if I was in New York, I probably would still vote for Cornel West and not for Biden. So anyway, tell me your thinking and why you're more or less convinced that it's the right thing to do to go Cornel West.
Now here's the bobblehead's turn. This is one of the bobbleheads here.
Gotcha. A lot to respond there.
Yeah, sorry about that spiel.
No, you're great. That's a lot of good stuff. So
No. You're great, Kyle. You're never wrong. We're gonna kiss your ass throughout this entire debate.
I do live in a safe state. I live in Missouri, which is 100% gonna go red. It does every year, at least during my lifetime. At one point, not so much, but nowadays, solidly red state. Joe Biden's not going to win it. In my opinion, it's going to go to the Republicans no matter who I vote for. So I'm going to vote for Cornel West in the general election, despite acknowledging, and I think it is important for us lefties to acknowledge that, yes, Joe Biden is the lesser of two evils. And I would much...
All right, this is the part where Gavin here brings up Jimmy Dore, just to have Kyle melt down and make an ass of himself, embarrass himself. I'm not going to play the rest of this after this. We're going to examine some of the statements Kyle makes. I will go through that, and then I'll wrap this up, because I'm not going to subject you guys to 23 minutes of these three morons here, three stooges here, talking about politics. So another minute or so, and then I'm going to examine I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes talking about why the Democrats are the bigger evil, in my opinion. And then after that, we'll wrap up. We're already 20 minutes into this video, so...
Much rather him be president again than Donald Trump be president again. I think it's a huge red flag of a faux populist when you start hearing people like Jimmy Dore making the argument that actually Trump is the lesser of two evils, and he's
that is literally
less of a fascist. Just
to be clear, that is of all the things he said, that is by far and away the dumbest shit I've ever heard him say. And for Sam Cedar to chime in and say, I'll debate him, I was watching that like, if he doesn't want to do it, I'll fucking do it. I'll do it. Because that shit is, are you, like, do you have any brain cells left to make that argument? Like, that's the thing I don't like. He's a narrative humper, and he's a terminal contrarian. So he has his narrative, which is like, actually, Democrats are the bigger evil. And it's like, if you follow the news at all in modern day, you would know for sure that it's factually false. Or you do know that and you're lying because you're a narrative humper and you're sticking to your narrative no matter what. So anyway, sorry, I interjected there to show how pissed off I was at him over that.
And by the way, I think it's okay to reject the lesser of two evilism.
Their set doesn't matter. Well, let's examine that for a second. Let's do this. Let's examine that, because I think it's really important. So, according to Kyle Kulinski, the Democrats are lesser evil than the Republicans. Okay, let's examine that for a second. I'm going to spend the next, 5 or 10 minutes examining that. I'm going to take you guys through a history lesson. Hopefully it's not so boring, but we'll see. 100 years of history. All right. Let's see. Who passed the New Deal? That's right. FDR, Kyle's favorite president, the one that he loves to kiss his ass all the time. So he passed the New Deal. How did he pass the New Deal? Oh, that's right. He came together with racist Democrats in the South, aka Dixiecrats, and got them to agree to pass the New Deal. So that meant that black people weren't allowed to benefit from the New Deal. Okay, you say, okay, that's fine. That was the politics at the time. He had no choice. Okay, fine. I'll move on from that. It's not here. Let's move on to a few years later. World War II is going on. Who interned the Japanese Americans? Was it the Republicans? No, it turns out that was FDR, a Democrat. He interned the Japanese with Executive Order 1030, I believe it was, I remember correctly. And he interned Japanese Americans for 3 or 4 years to the end of the war. No reason for it. He just did it. It's like, the Japanese Americans, they must be agents for the Japanese government. So for the Imperial Japan, so let's just inter them for no reason until the end of the war. Great. There we go. Now let's continue with World War II. Who dropped the atomic bomb? Was it Republicans? Was it, Richard Nixon? Oh no, it turns out there was another Democrat, Harry Truman. Harry Truman dropped a nuclear bomb, nuclear atomic bombs, not once but twice. Once in Hiroshima, and then in Nagasaki. He dropped nuclear bombs. Killed hundreds of thousands of innocents for no reason, other than to test the bomb. Because by that point, the war was basically over. It was just, the difference was it going to be over in a week, or was it going to be over in 6 months? And the justification for that at the time was, if we had to invade mainland Japan, then it would have cost a few thousand or hundreds of thousands more of American lives. So we had to drop the nuclear bomb and kill a bunch of people for no reason, right? Okay, let's continue. Let's go to 1960s. Okay, who threatened World War III over the Cuban Missile Crisis? Must have been Dwight Eisenhower, right? General Eisenhower? No, it turns out that was another Democrat, John F. Kennedy. And look, you could say at the time it may have been justified because the Soviets were trying to put nukes in Cuba and all this other shit, but still, he threatened nuclear war over the fact that the Russians wanted to put bombs or nuclear bombs in Cuba. Again, who's the bigger evil there? All right, let's continue. Let's go to Let's go to the 1970s. And this is a little different, and I'm going to make a point here. Who created the EPA? The agency Kyle just talked about. Like, if it wasn't for the Democrats putting in that piece of the bill, then the EPA would have been destroyed because it wouldn't able to regulate carbon emissions. Who created the EPA though? It must have been Lyndon Johnson, right? Oh no, it turns out that was Richard Nixon, a Republican. He created EPA. You could say, well, it's because the left had power in the 70s. Okay, fine, but still, it was a Republican president who ultimately created the EPA. But I forgot about something and have to go back for a second. Who started the Vietnam War? Who killed hundreds of thousands of Americans in Vietnam? Was it Eisenhower? No, it turns out that was JFK and also LBJ, Democrats. They started that war, and they caused the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans and cost us billions of dollars for no reason, in Vietnam, which ended up going communist anyways. So that was a waste of money. Let's see. All right, let's fast forward to the 90s for a second. Because let's fast forward to the 90s, early 90s. Who created the EPA? Not EPA. Who passed NAFTA? EPA, I just said that, but again, I said EPA. Let me try it again. Who passed NAFTA? It must have been George H.W. Bush, right? Must have been Reagan, somebody, right? Oh no, it turns out that was Democrat too, Bill Clinton. It was weird. Bill Clinton passed NAFTA, which cost us hundreds of thousands of jobs here in the U.S., but that was, again, Bill Clinton. Excuse me. All right, let's keep going. Who reformed welfare? Who destroyed the welfare program? That had to have been George H.W. Bush or Reagan, right? It had to be. The Republican parties hated the welfare system for decades. The conservatives. It must have been them. Oh no, it turns out it was Bill Clinton too. That's weird. Another Democrat destroying social programs instead of Republicans. That's really weird. All right, let's keep going. In the 90s, let's stick with the 90s. Who had a secret deal with that Speaker of the House to privatize Social Security and Medicare? Again, that must have been George H.W. Bush. That must have been Reagan. Oh no, it turns out Bill Clinton did that too. And it wasn't for the fact that he got a blowjob from Monica Lewinsky and that came out, this deal would have happened and we wouldn't have Social Security and Medicare today. That's weird. It's just so weird. According to Kyle Kulinski, the Democrats are the lesser evil, right? I'm baffled by this, guys. All right, let's keep going. Who invaded Iraq? Oh, that's right. It was, to be fair to Kyle, it was George W. Bush, a Republican. So, yeah, he got one there. However, who supported the war? Who pushed the war? Who pushed the Senate to approve it? Oh, that's right. Turns out it was Democrats. It was Hillary Clinton, who was a 2016 nominee, and Joe Biden, who's a 2020 nominee and eventually would become president. So, yeah, that's a push. I wouldn't even give that to Kyle. That's a push. Yeah, George W. Bush was president, but ultimately, if he didn't have Democrat support, he would never been able to invade. Yeah, again, that's... Sorry. That's a push. Let's go a little bit more, though. A little forward. 2010, 2012. Who tried to do the grand bargain that would have cut Social Security and Medicare? Must have been George W. Bush again. Must have been Mitt Romney. Must have been Mitt Romney who was favored that. Oh no, it turns out that was the Democrats too. It was Barack Obama and Joe Biden. In fact, Joe Biden was point man in negotiations with the House and the Senate over the grand bargain, which would have cut Social Security and Medicare. Damn, again, that's just weird. Because according to Kyle Kulinski, Democrats are the lesser evil. It's just weird. Let me keep going a little bit further. The TPP. Who pushed that? It must have been Mitt Romney and the Republicans, right? They supported it, but they must have been the ones who was the brainchild of that, right? Oh no, it turns out that was Obama too, a Democrat. It just, I only found one example, which was the Iraq War, and even then, that's a push because ultimately Democrats supported the war and pushed for the war too, but That's the only thing I found. Everything else is Democrats doing it. Every evil thing that Kyle Kulinski would hate was done by Democrats. Let's see. Let me think. Who is about to start World War III today? Let's go all the way to today, 2023. It must be Republicans, right? They're pro-war. They're neocons and they're pieces of shit. They're motherfuckers. Whatever. They try to start World War III, right, with the Russians over Ukraine. Oh no! It turns out it's Joe Biden, the current U.S. president, and Kamala Harris. Oh man! Oh, this is so embarrassing for Kyle. For Kyle and his butt buddies, the Vanguard. It's just humiliating. I mean, I only found one thing that maybe you can pin on Republicans. Even then, Democrats supported it, so that's a push. Pathetic. Just a pathetic commentary by Kyle. Like, oh, I would debate Jimmy Dore today on that because I would be right. Oh, no, by the way, I just pointed out 100 years of history about how Democrats are actually the more effective evil or the bigger evil, whatever you want to call it. So, no, you embarrassed yourself. You made an ass of yourself. Jimmy Dore wouldn't give Kyle Kulinski time of day, but I would. I would love to debate Kyle Kulinski on this. Maybe, he can beat me. Okay, fine. He doesn't have to debate me. I have 170 subscribers on YouTube and get 100 views a video. Okay, fine. Not me. Why does he debate, I don't know, somebody RBN, Nick or Rome or CJ? He won't do that either. I guarantee you he wouldn't do that. He's not a man. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't go up against those guys. He wouldn't go up against anybody INN. He wouldn't go up against anybody else to his left. He will have Jordan Peterson on his show. He'll have all these other right-wingers on his show, but he won't go up against anybody on his left. I wonder why that is, Kyle. Why don't you grab your balls back from Crystal Ball and put them between your legs and show me that you have a set and debate somebody to your left? But you won't because you don't have balls. You're not a man. So I made my points. This video is going on for 30 minutes, and I have to wrap up here because my throat's getting tired, and I have other things to do today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My takedown of Kyle Kulinski and his little bobbleheads of Vanguard. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give me a like. Please subscribe. Give me a comment telling me what you think down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. By the way, check me out on Friday on my stream, Angel in the Afternoon, as you can see right there. Let me see about this. There. Good enough. So that's my stream. Check it out on Friday afternoons. I go live between 1 and 2 o'clock. I mean, just follow me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, at Angel Rivera, Angel J Rivera 08. So I'll give you the time there for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said 3 times already, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.